We are still talking about my owl traumatized from the owls last night. But I digress. I welcome Jean and Sue from the Democratic Club. Hello, you two.
Hello.
Welcome back to the show.
Thank you.
I haven't seen you guys in a couple of months, so you got to catch me up. All things Democrat Club. What's going on?
Okay, well, the first thing I want to talk about is our next meeting, which is February 17th at 7 o'clock in Clubhouse 2. And our featured speaker will be Shireen Smith. And the reason that we're having her, she's a former superintendent of schools, is because the primary is coming up in June, and some of the races are actually finished in the primary, and the Board of Education is one of them, and others can be finished if the candidate receives more than 50%. Anyway, Shireen Smith is a product of California Public Schools. She worked her way up from a teacher to a principal to a superintendent to a university professor, and she is going to speak about the current OC Board of Education. The reason that she's going to be speaking about that is that she did run for Board of Education. Unfortunately, she lost. And the current Board of Education has they're all Republicans. It's nonpartisan, but they are all Republicans. And they were mostly funded by charter school organizations. And they received $700,000 in charter school contributions. And there is no limit to what the Board of Education candidates can receive, which is very unusual because most candidates have limits as to what they can receive. But anyway, she's going to talk about that and their agenda and the rise of Christian nationalism in school boards and the rise of charter schools in Orange County, et cetera. And it should be very interesting.
Okay. And do you have to be a member of the Democrat Club to attend the meeting?
No, you don't. It costs $5 for people who are not members, but we encourage people to join when they come, and then they don't have to pay the extra $5. Mm-hmm. So it's open to everybody.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And then let's give the details. Tuesday at 7 p.m.
Mm-hmm. In Clubhouse 2.
Clubhouse 2.
And you can arrive early at 6:30. That's when the doors open. And there will be a couple other speakers speaking for a few minutes, and perhaps Jean could.
Yeah, well, there's a Democratic candidate running for Orange County Board of Education. He will be there to introduce himself. And we're also going to have at least one representative from one of the various advocacy groups for public education in Orange County. So the whole focus is public education at that meeting.
So any idea what their agendas are going forward for the next year or two?
Well, as far as the candidates, that I couldn't tell you,
no, sure.
But they will make that statement at the meeting, or we can ask them when they're chatting with them. So, and that's one of the other things about our meetings is almost always we allow for questions from the audience. We always ask our speakers. Mm-hmm. We always allow people to ask our speakers questions, and we get in as many questions as we can, because we think that's so important to have, give people the opportunity to interact with candidates who are going to be representing them. So that's
absolutely. You need to extract as much information as you possibly can.
Exactly,
right?
Exactly, and let them know, how we feel, how we think, and what we'd like to see from them.
Right.
Which the other side of it is also very important.
You were going to say something?
Well, as far as the importance of the primary, Jean was going to talk about the pre-endorsement process, which is part of the California Democratic Party, and what role the Laguna Woods Democrats had in that process.
Yeah, right. And that goes back to letting candidates know how we feel And so, yeah, we finished, we had the pre-endorsement conference.
Now, was that the AD 72 that you mentioned?
Yes, that's where we voted on whether we want to endorse Chris Kluwe for AD 72, and Dave Min is our other candidate that we can opine on, and he is, because he's an incumbent, he's on the consent calendar, which means that at the Democratic statewide conference, which is on February 20th, there's a whole list of candidates who are incumbents who are presented to vote on as a group, okay? And if somebody or some group of representatives feels that that candidate should not be included on the consent calendar, then they are removed. But the assumption is going forward, incumbents are included on the consent calendar.
I see.
And we had 27 representatives at that meeting.
Oh, right, yeah.
Which it goes by the size of the club, of the charter Democratic club, and that's one of the advantages of being a chartered club, is that we get to have a voice in this important process, in the process of who the state party decides to endorse as a candidate.
Right, exactly. Yeah, so we feel really strongly about communication between our elected representatives and our voters.
Right.
And that's what we're encouraging all the time in our club members. Another thing that's happening right now with regard to endorsements is that the county party representatives, including the ones from our club, are voting on, or will be voting on the county party's endorsement. So there are club endorsements, and then there are county parties endorsements, and then there's state endorsements, and that ends up being the, where we come down on what we as a club can publicly endorse, and according to our charter
You guys
rules.
have a busy club there. Unfortunately, we're out of time.
Oh, we
I
did
know you
want to
wanna get
mention the protest
I
on March
know.
8th.
Yeah, we're in our protest garb.
You guys are
because we wanna
protesting
make sure. Yeah, so March 8th, you want to talk about the?
March 8th at the corner of El Toro on Paseo de Valencia from 11 to 1.
Okay.
Thank you, ladies.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you,
Always
Bree.
a pleasure to see you. Good luck
Thank
with
you.
everything.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Coming up next, we'll have some announcements and what's on tomorrow's show. Stay with me.